Hello.
Can I speak to Christopher Throckmorton, please?
This is he.
Christopher, my name's Dan Ward. I'm calling from Indiana Disability Rights.
Yes, I got your voicemail earlier. I just left you one back.
Yeah, well, I got that voicemail. That's why I'm calling you now. I'm actually in contacting you. I got your telephone number from your public defender, that's James Tuck,
Okay.
and I was actually referred to him by Judge Ferguson. I guess you have some pending charges in his court, and you have asked him to appoint an advocate. Is that correct?
Yes. A forensic advocate for autism.
I'm having a hard time hearing you, a little bit muffled there, Christopher.
A forensic advocate for autism. It's a court appointed forensic advocate under Indiana Code 353612.
Yeah, hold on a second. Now, you said this is a forensic autism advocate?
Um, yeah, it's a forensic advocate for autism. Give me 1 second. Yeah, it says court appointed forensic advocate for persons with intellectual disabilities, developmental disabilities, or autism spectrum disorders.
Hold on. Court appointed forensic advocate. What was the rest of that?
For persons with intellectual disabilities, developmental disabilities, or autism spectrum disorders.
Can you hold on a second?
No problem. Hello.
My apologies.
Oh, no problem.
Okay, so now you cited Indiana code. What's that code again?
That would be Title 4, Chapter 36, Article 12.
That's Indiana code
Yeah, 35, 36, 12.
35, 36, 12. And I'm assuming you just pulled that off the internet.
Uh, I guess so. It's
Well, how did
available
you learn?
online. I do a bit of research online.
Is that how you learned about it?
Yeah.
And does that pertain specifically to court proceedings for persons with developmental disability?
That's what it says.
Okay. And so, if you were to obtain a court-appointed forensic advocate, what purpose would that individual serve for you?
Um, from my understanding of what the case law says, this will sort of help bridge the communicational gap, barrier, issue, whatever, between me and the courts. Um, Something similar to a interpreter for someone who speaks Spanish.
Okay, hold on. And you don't believe that your public defender would be able to do that to
Absolute,
represent you appropriately?
Absolutely not.
And for what reason?
Um, for one, my public defender and me have a long history. There is no repairing that relationship. I've I've I have a problem with physical contact. Perfect example. Um, I've made this very clear. Um, this attorney has touched me several times during conversations. I've made it clear that I understand that he's not trying to be offensive, but I would prefer him to stop. Doesn't matter. Um, I've literally had to explain to a courtroom that I will respond to this if he continues. Um, it's sort of treated like I'm being ridiculous, um, and it's a it's a personal thing, and basically my attorney doesn't have the right to put his hands on me, and that's basically where it ends. I have to explain this to the judge, to the attorney, and I mean, my attorney and me do not get along. He's the attorney that they appoint you when you're not guilty, and they just want you to sign a plea bargain. And basically, this guy is known throughout the entire community for the past 10 years that I've lived here as James Run 'em Up Cup, because it doesn't matter what you did, if you're guilty, innocent, whatever, he's guaranteed going to send you to prison because he doesn't file anything but for a reschedule. That's what he does. He drags the court case out under Indiana Trial Rule 4C for the prosecution for as long as it takes for the prosecution to convince you to sign a plea bargain. This is what he does locally. I know this. I cannot do this with him. I think it's disgusting. I think it's disrespectful to the judicial system. I think it's quite literally dangerous, because he's playing with people's lives, and it's obvious what he's doing. Why he's still allowed to practice law, I have no idea. I'm working towards ending that. I've explained this to him. I'm naming him in a civil suit as a participant in multiple civil rights violations, including previous prosecutorial misconduct that he helped facilitate. In no way, shape, or form does he represent me. I don't care what Judge Bergerson ordered. That man does not speak for me. Oh, to be more specific, I'm against him being my attorney. I'd like to be able to speak for myself, and I'd like the court to be able to understand that I have a disability and they can sort of meet me in the middle as far as communication goes. Instead, they threaten me to the point that I will be held to stupid technicalities instead of the name of actual justice based upon how I communicate and my forward nature, as opposed to letting me represent myself. They just force this public defender on me. So no, I don't think he can facilitate this at all, because he's not allowed to, as well. Like, he can't go in here and call a judge's previous actions politically motivated. And basically, if I'm going to be charged with trespassing on city property and things of this nature, because I have a disability, I'd like to speak for myself about it in a court where I'm charged as the defendant. Um, I I assumed when I found this legislature, this was the intentions for it. I apologize if I sound a little geared up about this. It's very frustrating. I was actually just reading an article on your guys' Facebook page from one of your staff attorneys about the intersectionality of post-traumatic stress disorder and autism, and how it creates basically a a back and forth whack-a-mole kind of thing with services.
Who wrote that?
Yeah, I just read it.
No, who wrote it?
I know. It's pretty spot on. Like,
Yeah, who's the author?
that would be Justin Schrock, I think. Um, but I've been that teenager as well. So, um, but basically, this is what I'm trying to be able to facilitate, is being able to speak for myself in court. Um, and if that requires some sort of an advocate, I'm willing to meet in the middle there. But I don't want an attorney who does not have my best interest or an understanding of me to speak on my behalf.
So when did you get these charges against you? How long ago was that?
These charges that I currently have all stem from June and July of this year.
Of this?
Correct. I have previous charges where I asked for an autism advocate, and it was sort of taken under advisement, and then the charges were dismissed, so nothing more came of it.
Well, I I don't know that Indiana code necessarily applies to our agency. What I'm going to do is consult with my team leader and see if they have any suggestions about where that court-appointed forensic advocate would come from?
You mind if I speed you up a little bit?
Sorry?
Do you mind if I speed you up a little bit? I got some other stuff here you might be interested in.
How's that now?
Okay. From what I can tell, the funding, or at least one source of funding that I've been able to find for this, would be under Indiana Code 11.12.2 4 G6.
Who does it say the funding source is?
This is a Community Corrections Advisory Board, but it says this is a new part, and it says it's funding. A Community Corrections Advisory Board may provide funding a court-appointed forensic advocate program as described in IC 3612 for persons who are on probation, are supervised by a community corrections program, or are participating in a pretrial diversion program. This went into effect July 1st, 2015, I think.
Hold on. Give me that IC code again.
That would be IC 11.12.2.4 G6.
11-12-2-4.
Correct. And then G in parentheses, 6 in parentheses. And then under 35 31.5 2 68.5, there's it says a court appointed forensic advocate means a community volunteer who has completed a training program approved by the court that includes training in the development of a person with an intellectual disability, a developmental disability, or an autism spectrum disorder as defined in 11.12.3.7.2.5, and evidence-based treatment and counseling programs for a person with an intellectual disability, a developmental disability, or an autism spectrum disorder, has been appointed by a court to assist a person with an intellectual disability, a developmental disability, or an autism spectrum disorder who has been charged with a criminal offense, and may research, examine, advocate, facilitate, and monitor the situation of a person with an intellectual disability, a developmental disability, or an autism spectrum disorder who has been charged with a criminal offense. So,
okay, but does it say where to get that person?
No, I mean, it doesn't. As far as I know, locally, I'm the only person who's interested in being that person. So, I'm just trying to get equal access to the courts like everybody else, and I'm basically doing a whole lot of the footwork as far as whatever a lawyer or the judge's paralegals should actually be doing. But instead, I'm the one who's coming up with all these IC codes for everybody. So no, I don't know who's supposed to do it outside of this. I'm literally volunteering locally. So
Well, what might also facilitate this, since you got all those IC codes there in front of you and everything, you think you could shoot me an email with that information and then also a brief description as to why you want this?
sure, not a problem.
Let me give you my email address.
All right.
It's DWARD at IndianaDisabilityRights.org. And it doesn't have to be you know, 2 or 3 pages long. Just give me a brief description of what's going on and what you want, where we're at now.
Not a problem. Um, you may be able to find some sort of information with the Governor's Council on Disabilities. I mean, I'm assuming you
I'll just run it by my team leader. I'm sure they'll have some input, but go ahead and send me that email and we'll go from there. Okay.
not a problem. So, my first question would be, I guess, as far as time limit, like I'm charged with a criminal offense, so there's some sort of some time tolling things that sort of matter. Um, I requested this, and I've had multiple, hearings reset, as well as I believe under Indiana Trial Rule 4C, I'm likely they're gonna attempt to try to charge me with all this dead time right now. Why everybody's researching, um, apparently what this is. So as far as is there any way I can find out a time reference maybe as far as what to
Well,
expect here or
well, if you can get me that email, I can probably get you some information as to whether our agency might be able to be involved or to whom you can turn to, possibly by tomorrow or the first of next week.
now what I'm trying to figure out is okay, how does this now hinge upon me emailing you?
Well, it doesn't. I mean, if you'd rather not do that, that's fine. I just thought if you had all that information at your
I mean, to be
fingertips.
perfectly honest, you don't want a 5-page email, and I got way more information than that. I've been going through this with this same court system for years, and
No, I don't want a 5-page email.
um, but I'm not really even sure what exactly you want. You want me to send you just these IC codes and why I think
No,
they apply to me?
you don't have to send me anything. In fact, with the information that you've given me and the information that I obtained from about these codes, I've got enough to go forward. So you just give me a minute to consult with my team leader, and I'll get back to you.
Okay.
I can't say it's going to be today, but it possibly be tomorrow or the first of next week.
Um,
When's your next court hearing?
as of right now, I believe Valentine's Day. However, I have a motion for special prosecutor, special judge, special public defender that has been pretty much tabled until this matter is resolved. So nothing's happening in my case until this is resolved. Essentially, this is a standstill factor. That is why I'm asking essentially about the timing and everything of that nature. Is all three of my cases have been sort of consolidated under I don't know what reasoning they didn't officially do it. It's just happening. But I have 3 open cases, and none of them are moving forward until uh, apparently this is resolved. Um,
Okay. Well, you need to be aware that our agency doesn't provide criminal representation.
yeah, I know
Okay.
nobody does, and the
Pardon?
nobody does. That's the point.
Well, only defenders provide criminal representation, sir.
I mean, and I yeah, if you want to call it that. Until I have a
Well,
disability and he doesn't understand how to communicate with me.
okay. Well, I'm just letting you know that if we were to get involved, we wouldn't be representing you on the criminal charges. Your request from our agency is for a forensic advocate to bridge the gap and help the court to understand the involved with your disability, correct?
I guess so. Yeah. I
Okay.
I'm not the one that requested your involvement. From what you're telling
Okay.
me,
Well,
Judge Bergerson requested your involvement. Um,
Judge Burke,
I
notify me.
asked for this specific application of the case law. Who fills it is from what I understand not my choice.
Okay.
I just want what the statute outlines fulfilled, and if that's basically able to better help me communicate with the court so that I'm allowed to speak for myself, that's my preference. I would choose to represent myself, and I believe that a misunderstanding of my communicational issues has stalled the court process.
All right. Well, are you wanting me to pursue the possibility of getting or help from our agency?
Absolutely. I mean, even if you guys can't help me, at least maybe the next person that could be assisted by this, there'll be a little bit more information readily available.
Well, I'll get back to you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Bye.
Have a nice day. Bye.